Welcome back for another episode of Civility Wins, the Family Law Edition. I am your host, Kristen Goss, founder and owner of KWG, Family Legal and Mediation Services. We are your knowledgeable, warm, and gracious attorneys. And today I have special guest Jordan Niefeld.
Hello, Kristen.
Hi,
Great
nice
to be
to see
here.
you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. He is a CPA, a certified financial planner. He works with Raymond James. I'm going to briefly introduce him and we're going to get into the conversation. We have some great topics today that I know you will be beneficial. So, as I said, Jordan, he was born and raised in Miami, Florida. He worked as a senior tax CPA and forensic accountant for successful business owners with LLCs, S corps, and advised high net worth families, helping to prepare sophisticated tax mitigating strategies and tax prep for 10 years. He is with Raymond James. He has been with them since 2014, where he became a certified financial planner and certified exit planning advisor, where today he works closely with uniquely successful business owners, helping them to enhance their value in their business, and advises other high net worth families in various financial, investment, and tax planning strategies. There's so much more I can say about you,
Yes,
Jordan.
quite a mouthful, I know.
Yes, and we're going to talk a lot about his charitable work as well, which I think is
Absolutely.
amazing. He's an amazing, phenomenal professional and human being.
Thank you,
So,
Kristen. It's such a pleasure to be here. I love what you're
yes.
doing.
Thank you.
You know, getting really great people together, talking about important issues of the day. So I'm thrilled to be here. I can't wait to start this conversation.
Me neither.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
So let's get started, everybody. So, Jordan, you are a CPA, as I
Yes.
stated, and you have so many other accolades. If you can share with the audience your journey into how you ended up doing what you do.
Sure. So, I mean, ultimately, I am a product of Miami. Born and raised here in Miami. This is my home. This is my community. I love not only what I do, I'm very passionate about what I do, but I also love giving back to the community. And I think that's such an important part of the fabric of who I am and, why I do what I do. So anyhow, I started my career as a tax CPA, as Kristen mentioned, specializing in tax mitigation, helping families, investors, business owners, helping them really think through a full strategy as to, how they're really mitigating all their tax matters, right? Today, tomorrow, and well into the future. And that can be, again, with certain investment planning, different tax mitigation strategies as it hits their 1040 and everything in that regard. And then ultimately their business. How are we, being, constructive and thinking through what we can be doing to utilize this asset, this business asset, to take advantage of all the tax deductions that the business, provides us. So anyhow, I did that. And then ultimately, I transitioned into becoming a certified financial planner with Raymond James, where today I am a principal of a multifamily practice where I specialize in investment planning, tax mitigation, risk mitigation, all the financial planning strategies, sophisticated strategies, more basic strategies, but ultimately helping people find a pathway and roadmap to their goals, right? Everybody is different. Everybody has different goals and objectives. And so my role is to come in and really listen and to try to understand what the family is trying to accomplish, providing that roadmap and that clarity, right? And then diving into all the different strategies that may exist for them, right? So, and that is, correlated to all their financial, investment, and tax planning ideas. So I love that. And then ultimately, of course, working through the estate and the trust in the estate and making sure that that's, properly constructed so that we're minimizing any risk that may pertain to the family, from this generation to the next generation. So I'm excited to talk more about kind of what I do and have this conversation with you today.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So there's so many thoughts going through my mind, everybody, right now. Let's start off focusing on the special needs aspect.
Okay.
So you know that I'm a divorce attorney. I am collaboratively trained. I'm a certified family mediator. I'm a certified guardian ad litem. I help families navigate a very tough time in their lives. I'm traditionally trained. I have a litigation background, but I also have a conflict resolution background, over 20 years in conflict resolution.
Great.
over 15 years in litigation. And so seeing both sides of the fence. And when it comes to special needs family or children with special needs and navigating that, I found from my experience the collaborative process and resolving outside of court is much better because they all have unique needs, right? It's not the typical, okay, 50-50. There's a lot that goes into that.
Totally.
Working with special needs consultants. Shout out to Tabitha Mizrahi. She's amazing. So tell me and tell the audience a little bit about how that is working with attorneys such as myself, me, a mom who has a daughter with special needs as well.
Sure.
How you work with families from the divorce side to ensure that they're set up for success.
Absolutely. So it's such a passionate and deep topic to me because the way I got involved in the special needs community, actually my father, who's retired now, was a special needs teacher for over 30 plus years, helping children with special needs, autism, all different types of disabilities in the public school system. And so, growing up in that household, hearing the stories and going to summer school with him and meeting the kids and seeing how wonderful they were, it was definitely something that I wanted to learn more about and get more involved in. And so I became a treasurer of a special needs school here in Miami. And I started to really dive deeper into the special needs community. And what you realize working with special needs, children with special needs, and the families that are raising these wonderful kids is that they have special, objectives that they need to ensure. And so, setting up a plan and really answering two questions. And this is with the special needs community and not, but specifically with the special needs community, which is, question one, I would say is, how are we going to be okay, right? If mom and dad are not here, right? Are we going to be okay? Is our beautiful child who may need some assistance, going to be okay and going to make it? So how are we, constructing a plan around that and thinking through all the different, ideas and strategies that we may need to consider? And two is, what am I missing? What am I missing today? What am I missing that could potentially hurt us, right? If God forbid mom and dad, something happened to them, or what should we be doing, right? From a risk mitigation standpoint, from a legal standpoint, right? We're going to talk about special needs trust, but also what are we missing that we could take advantage of, right? And so, thinking through, again, more specifically in the special needs trust area is this idea of, people don't necessarily understand that, if you have the government gives certain benefits. And so we want to make sure that those benefits to families that qualify are, taking advantage of that. And so creating these special needs trust vehicles, which ultimately is giving the family the ability to, take advantage of SSI and Medicaid, is a very important conversation to have. And so my role, again, thinking through the ideas with that is making sure that there's a plan in place, that the child and the family is not ever jeopardizing those benefits that the government is allocating to them, rightfully so. And so we need to really look through all the different areas and gaps that may exist, and bringing in the attorney, right? Bringing in the advisor, bringing in tax oversight and so on, so that we're making sure that there's a plan in place for not only mom and dad, but for the child as well, so that we're taking advantage of the government benefits that are there. We're not jeopardizing those benefits in any capacity. We're not exposing family assets that may exist, to disqualify the family for these benefits, right? And then thinking through, okay, once the child becomes 18, in terms of guardianship rules, right? Because I don't have to tell you if a child becomes 18, does mom and dad still have the same rights in terms of legal direction, right? And so these are all the conversations that we're talking about. And so for me, it's very important to talk to this community, educate this community, giving back to the school system, honoring my father. I do a lot of lecturing around the state in terms of, just making sure that families know what's available to them and putting them on a right track so that they're not worried, right? These are wonderful children. They deserve the world as well. So we just want to make sure that we have a plan in place. We're taking advantage of everything we can, and we're on a road, a roadway for success.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
I love that. You mentioned jeopardizing, the benefits. That's something I'm sure parents don't want to do. So please, if you have questions, reach out. On the legal side, we help families all the time dealing with that. And Jordan,
Definitely.
from the financial perspective. And then I liked what you said in regards to special needs. Every family is different, right? Because you may have some high functioning individuals. For example, I have a guardian advocacy matter where the now adult child, which we planned prior to him turning 18, is now an adult, but you don't have to go the full-fledged guardianship depending on the child and soon-to-be adult's needs. So every family is different. You don't have to, again, go through the long drawn out. There's guardian advocacy for those who are more high functioning, but just connecting with professionals who are skilled in what they do. And I love how you said bringing in the CPA and other individuals, because how you approach things, how I approach things is very holistic, because there's no one size fits all, and you want to make sure you have all of the professionals that are needed.
And it's something that we've done before, right? I mean, there's a lot of different attorneys, a lot of different advisors, but ultimately, is this something that they know about? Are they specialized in it? Do they have the relationships and wherewithal to really truly advise a client on this matter? You mentioned your personal child, so you have a different relationship to this. So it's very important, again, not only working with someone who knows what they're doing, but really someone who knows this space in particular. Every case is different. Every family objective is different. So we have to craft a plan around, that. And so, having the right team around you, and again, building out a plan of confidence, what I call a confidence plan, which, we can talk about, which is, just bringing a high level of confidence to the family, knowing that all of the gaps have been thought through, all of the what ifs have been thought through, all of the potential benefits have been talked through, right? And so we have a plan in place and a roadmap to success. And, that is the ultimate value, because it's peace of mind. It's peace of mind to the family, knowing that, again, not only mom and dad are taken care of, but their beautiful family, their children, their legacy is going to be taken care of as well. So that brings me great joy, that brings me great joy. And it reminds me about, the saying, which is, personal finance is a lot more about personal than it is about finance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People think, it's just, let's make as much money as we can. Let's look at the spreadsheets. Let's look at the data. But the personal side is so important, because, it's the values that the family believes in. It's the legacy they want to live, right? It's the lifestyle. It's the principles that make them who they are. So a good advisor is someone who's going to pay very close attention to that, listen, right? Really understand the needs of the family, the importance of their goal planning, right? Because, like we keep saying, every plan is different. And, so for me, that personal touch is so important, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to provide all the best, investment solutions, all the best tax planning advice, all the best trust and estate advice, working, with great partners. But are we crafting something that really speaks to the family, right? And so that's just such an important part of kind of, what we do on a day-to-day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I want you to share with the audience, we all have that story that stands out in our experience and what we do. What is that story for you?
So I have a couple.
Okay.
But I'll start with one that sticks out to me.
Okay.
And how I really, fell in love with what I'm doing, the purpose and passion part of my waking up every day and going out and providing the absolute best service and the best, strategies to my clients so that their specific goals are being met. But I had a case where I had a divorce attorney call me. And she said, Jordan, we're dealing with this case. It's a very complicated case. The woman and the man, they're 65 years old each, and they're been married for 30 years, and they have a couple older adult kids, and they're getting a divorce. Okay, well, that happens, and well, we have a problem. We've been trying to negotiate this case over and over again, and the husband's coming to the table and willing to do his part, but she's not. She's frozen. And I said, well, what is she frozen about? She said, well, she's frozen. She's not willing to, sign anything because the number we keep giving her in terms of her alimony and the equitable distribution is just, she doesn't know what it means. So I said, okay. I said, would it be okay if I called her? So I ended up staying up that night with probably a 2 or 3 hour call with her. And we ended up getting together. And her biggest fear was that she didn't know if she was going to be okay. She was so used to her husband taking care of the finances, right? She was going through this very emotional, event, separation after 30 years. And so after spending a lot of time, right, a lot of listening, some tears, some hugs, and so on and so forth, we ended up creating a confidence plan. And what this confidence plan was her expressing to me what she wanted her life to look and feel like. And so, going through the details of that, right? How much money does she need a month to live her life? What is her goals in terms of how many times she wants to travel? Does she want to rent? Does she want to buy? Does she a house? Does she want to give money to her kids? Is her kids getting married? What is she, what does she like to do? What are her hobbies? Let's talk about it. And so after spending a lot of time going through the minutia and the details of that, we set up a plan. We showed her a high confidence zone that with this equitable distribution, with everything that's laid out, we are going to achieve those goals so that you, Miss Client, are going to be able to live the life that you want to live in this next chapter. Right? This is a next chapter. This is not the end of a story. This is a new beginning.
Yeah.
And so with a lot of hand-holding and a lot of confidence and mapping it out, showing and detailing and letting her feel the plan and go and live, she was able to sign the documents, finalize the case. She started, living out her life. And today she's happily married to a new partner and she's living her dreams. And it just makes me so happy to see that because it's such a clear, I remember the attorney calling me and said, I don't know what you said to her, but, pat on the back for being able to get this done because we were at a complete standstill. So that is just an anecdote of what it feels and looks like to work with someone who really knows, right? It's not just the financial part. It's that personal touch and really giving someone the confidence to know that they're going to be okay. And, working through all the different layers of not only investment, tax, trust and estate, right? Retirement, risk mitigation, but also that other part, which is, am I going to be okay? Right? What is my life going to look like? And so for me, that was a big aha where I said, okay, dive into that more, talk to that spirit there. And my practice continues to flourish. And it still makes me very happy today every time I talk to her because we talk about that moment where she was going through a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, it's traumatic. Divorce is very traumatic, but I loved what you called it, a confidence plan, and listening and peeling the layers. I love all of that because a lot of times, more often than not, people will come and say, I want this, right? But there's a reason behind why they're saying what they're saying, and you delving in, that's where your expertise comes into play. Delving in to really understand why.
Yes.
Everyone has their why, and
Yes.
once you get a hold of that why,
Yeah.
then you can say, okay, this is what we're going to
And
do.
also, I think, and similar to you, which is most people, they want you to listen, right? They want you to, but they also want to understand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They want to understand what's happening, whether it's a more foundational case or more sophisticated case, right? The more that you can get a client to really understand the process and the options and why we may do this, why we may do that, right? The risk and the rewards of all the different types of things that we're doing, you get buy-in, right? And so for me, it's that teacher of heart, which is I really take a teacher approach. I think a good advisor is a good teacher, someone who's willing to be patient with the client to have them really fully understand what they're going through, right? And what their options are so that they can really feel comfortable with the next step. So I really love to teach. And that's something that I do throughout the year, whether it's in the financial literacy courses with SIFMA. I just taught last week at my old high school, which is Hillel, on a 10th, 11th grade financial literacy class, which was amazing. I'm teaching next month at FAU at their master class for investment management, School of Business. I love to give back to the community and teach the next generation, teach my clients really how things work, why they work, why we're doing what we're doing. And that gets buy-in. And when they feel confident, I feel confident, right? And the plan flourishes because you're more likely to stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Right? So if things change within a family's dynamic, then we change the plan. The plan, this confidence plan is a living document, right? So if things are happening in the family, we're updating the plan. If at any one point there's a drop in the success rate or the confidence zone, let's call it the red zone, well, we need to make some adjustments. What can we do? Right? And so the client likes to see us in the green zone because that's a high likelihood of confidence. And so when they see that, they buy in, they understand, they have all the options at their fingertips. Wow, this is a very different experience, right? This is not someone saying, you got to do this or else. No, they really, feel like they're in control of their plan. And that's what a confidence plan is for me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Empowerment.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to talk a little bit. You mentioned the community.
Yeah.
So just so you know out there, Jordan is amazing. He's a board member of the American Lung Association of Miami. You mentioned the Jewish school, but it's Kesher.
Kesher, yeah.
The
It's
Jewish
a special needs school. Correct. Located in North Miami Beach. Treasurer for 7 years there, helping with guidance and budgeting and financial advisement for the school's success. So that's been really cool. And you'll probably mention about Kevin, who's the little brother of my big brother. Yeah.
Yes. Big brother, big sister member, Chapman Partnership Ambassador, Lotus Shelter for Women Ambassador, Miami Jewish Federation Ambassador. What are some upcoming projects in the community that you have going on?
Well, specifically, again, it's been really cool. The big, for me, I always want to give back. I think it's so important to give back, not only to the community and what it brings to the community, but what it brings to me. It brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Right? It brings me a lot of joy. It brings me a lot of purpose. And so it makes me want to wake up with gratitude to keep going, keep building what we're building. And so with Kevin, who's just graduated from high school as a big brother to part of Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, where you mentor children in the community. He just graduated from high school. He's the first to go in his family to go to college. And he's, again, living in the inner city. He's in Chicago right now, at a school there, got a full scholarship.
Awesome.
And so mentoring him, he wants to go to the Army one day. So just being part of his journey. It's been 2 years now since I've been doing that. And, he sent me a message the other day with him in a dorm. Hey, this is my new dorm. This is my new friends. And it's just amazing to see this kid blossom, in this new chapter. But for me, again, I want to talk about just a story that just happened recently. And again, the value it brings not only to the community, but to my practice, where I was just volunteering with my niece at the Lotus Women's Shelter, which is the largest women's shelter. People don't know this, the largest women's shelter in the country, in Miami. Lotus Women's Shelter, they house and support over 1,500 women, youth, and children in our city every year with women's only housing, feeding, children programs, and so on and so forth. So I went 2 weeks ago with her. We did a magic show. We did arts and crafts. It was amazing. And the kids loved it. The moms were happy. But I had a call recently with a woman who was going through a very difficult, again, another divorce. Ironically, it was another divorce. And I'm helping prepare her financial strategy and her planning and making sure, again, the confidence zone, right? Everything we're talking about. And she's going through it, right? She's really going through it. And I just reminded her I told her about the story about being in Lotus House and, how ultimately, there are people out there everyone's going through stuff, right? Yeah. Sometimes we think we're the only ones going through stuff. But I was telling her about the program, and I said, just remember, as challenging as you're going through it right now, and we're going to get through it, right? We have a great team, and we have a plan, and there are other people out there that are also going through really hard times right now. And at any one time, they probably would trade places with any of us at any time. So just keep that in mind. She says, Jordan, you know what? That really is changing my perspective on this whole thing. And she called me the other day. She said, I just wanted to thank you for telling me about that, because I woke up the next morning. I was just, obviously I'm sad, but I'm scared, and you're helping me get through it. But I feel like it's going to be okay. And so the reason I share that story is just, again, you can do so much. You can impact wonderful people in the community, right? The kids were so happy, and magic show, and I did the magic and the slime making and the arts and crafts, and the moms were happy. But also what it gave me, which is, again, this heightened sense of purpose. And so I can take that, bring that with me into my practice, and inspire and motivate not only myself but my clients to stay on track. We're going to get through this, right? We're going to be okay. And so on the community front, that's it. Now, you asked me about an event. One thing I'm very excited about, I focus with wealthy families, business owners who are potentially going through what we call a business exit. And what that means is, how are we using the business today, if we're a business owner, to really enhance and unlock the value of this business? So what I do is twice a year, I put together a BOSS event. A BOSS event is a Business Owner Strategy Summit, BOSS. Okay. And it's designed for business owners who are thinking about adding capital to their business, potentially partially exiting their business, right? Selling a piece of their business to a strategic partner, or potentially exiting completely. So I bring in, investment banking and private equity, right? And M&A attorneys and trust and estate attorneys and financial planning professionals, and tax advisors, right? And we demystify what it feels like to go through an exit and what people can be doing 2-3 years prior to the exit.
That's awesome.
So that's something I'll be inviting you to, of course. Yeah. And so this is an event coming up next month. It's for those individuals that are looking to really, think through what an exit looks and feels like, what they can be doing now, just to enhance the value of their business. And even if they're never going to sell their business, there's a lot of great strategy and tips in there to ensure they're maximizing the value of what they're currently doing right today. So it's a great event. It's a 5-hour summit with a happy hour and a dinner after. I would love for you to be my guest, of
I would love to
course.
come.
And
Yeah.
it's something I'm very passionate about because, again, it gets back to the teaching, right? It's educational, it's informative, it's bringing great minds together, it's letting people, become the best at what they're doing and their practice and their day to day and their business, etc. And if they need someone to help them through this transaction or transition to the next phase, right? Planning what that looks like, right? What's that net number they need to make this happen? Well, that's what we do, right? We can set the roadmap for them and connect all the dots so that they're maximizing their value and getting to where they want to go.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's cool.
About providing value to the community, holding people's hands, giving them direction. People want to know. They want the peace of mind. They want to feel empowered. But in order to do that, I love the educational piece and what you bring to individuals.
And I was listening to something recently, and the guy said, what is wealth? We're all chasing wealth, right? I'm a wealth advisor, right? Trust in estate, you're protecting wealth, right? And you're protecting asset. We're all either trying to obtain wealth or protect wealth, or what is wealth? And, you think about, there are a lot of people out there that have money but are really poor.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
They have money, but they're poor, right? They're poor in their psychology, right? They're poor in their emotional state. They're poor in their relationships, right? They're poor in their attitude, right? Maybe poor in their health. So what is wealth? Wealth is being able to extract the maximum amount of joy out of any experience in your life. That's when you're really, really wealthy. Now, it doesn't mean that, you don't take care of your finances, you don't take care of your legal positions, you're protecting your assets, setting up a trust and estate. But it does mean making sure that while we're going through the planning, that, of course, we're mitigating risks, we're minimizing taxes, we're maximizing value in terms of our asset appreciation and income appreciation, but that we're also maximizing our joy out of life. Yeah. That's what this is really about, right? And so for me, I just keep that point, that principle, that value very close to me while I'm advising my clients and educating my clients. Because if you lose sight of what this whole experience is, we call life, then what are we really doing, right? What are we really doing? And doing the community events and giving back, that reminds me of real wealth, right? The relationships I have with my parents and sisters and niece and nephew, and the relationships I have with my friends and other professionals like yourself, where we want to help each other and we want to help our clients, right? So to me, that's what wealth is. It's being able to extract the most joy out of any experience, out of life at any given time, and really working towards that every single day. And that's a practice.
Yes.
We have to practice that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We have to practice that. So I'm practicing it every day. And anyhow, I wanted to share that with you because I just think it's so valuable, so important to remember.
You're gonna make me cry. That's beautiful. It's true.
Yeah.
Life is too short, and you definitely want to make sure that you have that wealth for sure.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there anything? I have two final questions
sure.
for you. One is there anything that you wanted to add that we haven't discussed?
Well, I would just say specifically, the value of what you do. As you guys know, Kristen is involved in, as a specialist, as an expert in the trust and the estate side. And so, every client that we sit down and talk with, we're always going to be asking, who's your CPA, right? When's the last time you had your tax returns reviewed? Are we maximizing all the tax mitigation strategies for you? And then who's your attorney, right? Again, when's the last time that's been reviewed, right? When's the last time your titling has been updated? And, when's the last time you went through a what if scenario, right? How assets are transferred to the next generation, or are we in a taxable estate, right? How can we minimize that? Or if something happens to, one of us, who's going to inherit our assets, right? And all the protection that needs to be thought through there. So I just think what you do is so important. And, I can't recommend you enough because, sitting down with someone like you and being able to really think through, how the family's assets and needs and legacy is going to be, delivered in, very potentially uncertain times.
Yeah.
These are conversations we need to have now. And sometimes they're not easy conversations, right? But they're very, very important conversations. And I will just say that's even more so when it comes to, our beloved, special needs children and family members. That are we thinking through, how we're going to protect them and make sure that they're set when potentially we may not be here.
Yeah.
Right. Or going back to the SSI and the Medicaid, are we taking advantage of what the government is providing to us that we rightfully deserve? Are we taking advantage of? If we're not, why not? Right? So let's have a conversation with Kristen. Let's sit down. Let's really think through. And when I'm working with clients, we become team members. So I'm advising you, you're advising me. We're thinking through all the different what if scenarios. We're adding confidence to the confidence plan, right? We're trying to increase that. And, bringing our minds together, we can really put a comprehensive plan together where the client is first and we're simply there helping, right, direct and bring advice to what we think is in the best interest of them. So I think it's just so important what you're doing. I think it's great and admirable work because at the end of the day, you don't want to be in a situation where, something catastrophic happens or it's too late. Yeah. And then, oops, I didn't do anything. And now it's even worse. Take the time to sit down with Kristen, go through, your legal affairs, go through your state. Everyone needs an estate plan, right? Yeah. The misconception is, well, I don't have, the exemption next year is going to be $30 million, right? So anything below $30 million, there's no estate tax, essentially. Anything above $30 million, you could potentially be on the hook for some estate tax unless you do some planning. But that doesn't mean you don't need an estate plan, right? That doesn't mean that you don't need to sit down and really think through, okay, I might be exempt from the estate tax, but that doesn't exempt me from how assets are being transferred over. That doesn't exempt me from if something happens to me, the government doesn't want to look through and say, well, who gets this stuff, right? Because that takes time and that takes money, right? The government doesn't do that for free, right? It goes through the court system. And so this is why it's so important. It's so important. Every client of mine is going to have that conversation, whether they have their own attorney or whether I can make an introduction. And so, again, I just think it's so important that what you do and again, why you do it and that you have that specialty in that special needs area, which again, many attorneys do not. So thank you for what you do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. We're here to help. The overall theme is helping families, navigate through some good times, some tough times. And like you said, on the estate side, it's having a conversation, it's planning. We're not talking about death. We're staying ahead and ensuring that we're empowered to give to ourselves, to avoid things that we don't have to go through, and to leave a legacy behind for those that we love most. No question.
And I know I do. I know you do. Reaching out and having a conversation, thinking through, what it looks and feels like to go through the process, that doesn't cost any money, right? It's just, we are here to really help give the advice, to share with you best practices, things that you need to consider. We'll encourage you to start, right? I always encourage my clients, when it comes to their estate planning, start. But let's at least have the conversation. Let's at least have your documents reviewed.
Yeah.
Right? Which I know you'll do.
Yes.
let's review it. Let's just see what gaps are there. Maybe some things we want to tighten up. Maybe we're not ready for a full overhaul if even needed, but we can review it and give you some recommendations.
Absolutely.
So these are just things that a prudent, person will want to do to better themselves for the future, right? And to make sure that, today we've thought about it. We're minimizing any gaps. I call gaps that may exist. And so, it's an important exercise to do. It's not like we wake up and say, "Oh, I can't wait to review my estate plan," right? But doing it, having peace of mind that it's done,
Yes.
right? And again, similar with your with what we were saying about the confidence plan, which is looking through, my current portfolio, where can I add opportunities, where I might want to reduce certain positions or reduce risk. What tax strategies can I implement, right? Am I on track for retirement? I don't know. What's available to me, right? What should we be doing? And so these are just all the questions that we constantly ask. Am I going to be okay? What am I missing? Right? When's the last time we had things reviewed? Am I in a high confidence? Am I in a low confidence? Right? These are just ongoing questions. And what's fascinating to me, again, when I started in business 20 years ago as a CPA and now as a certified financial planner and certified exit planner advisor, those questions don't really change. Whether you're beginning, right, or whether you're super sophisticated and have uber's amounts of wealth, which, by the way, the more wealth you have, there's more chaos sometimes and more, more responsibility. It's not always the best unless you have a good team around you that knows what they're doing. And the spectrum in between, I just think it's interesting that, you would think, well, the more I have, the easier. No, the more you have, the not easier. These questions don't change. You have to continuously stay. Am I on track? Have I had my stuff reviewed? Do I have any gaps, right? Am I on a high confidence plan? What am I missing? All these things. So anyhow,
An annual checkup.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of like an annual checkup,
doctor.
right? And just having the right team in place to
Yeah.
say, this is something that we're doing, and I know I have the right team behind me to get the answers I need.
Love it. Share with the audience where they can find out more information about you. If they have questions, he's, has a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
share with the audience.
Thank
where
you.
They can
Yeah,
find
you can reach me at jordanniefeld.com, right? JORDAN, N as in Nancy, IE, F as in Frank, ELD, jordanniefeld.com. And reach me out there. You can send me an email. You can call my number. My number's on the website as well. 305-682-2434 at my office with Raymond James. And so you can utilize me as a touch point to think through certain matters. I have a myriad of licenses. So when it comes to, investment solutions and investment ideas, I work for my client, right? Which means that I'm not tied to any one solution or one idea, or we have full access to the entire investment universe, whether it's, capital markets, private equity opportunities, private credit opportunities, life insurance, which I'm not a huge fan of, the whole life policy stuff. The term I am, not the whole life because it's expensive, in my opinion, but that's a whole another conversation. But we have full access to everything. And anyhow, so I go through that with the client and just making sure that if they have any additional questions, we can go through it. So again, jordanniefeld.com, happy to answer any questions and be a resource for anyone that needs it.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time today.
Totally.
Great conversation. Would love to have a part 2.
Yeah. We'll do it. What I would say is we can do a couple of things. We can thinking through the business owner conversation.
Yes.
Which would be very interesting because if you're a business owner, if you're in the beginning stages, hoping later to be the larger stages, right? We all hope to continue to be larger and grow, but what can we be doing now to get to that stage, right? And having a conversation about that, preparing that, what in the estate planning side can we be doing? These are very tied together, because again, the IRS, of course, they're out there to collect revenue, right? Because they got to pay bills. We all pay our taxes, right? But if you set up certain strategies early, then you can minimize that tax bill later, right? You can minimize that tax bill later, and that's a win, right? It's not just how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Yes.
Right?
So true.
So these are all the things that we can talk about in preparing someone who's growing their business at stage 1, and then potentially exiting their business in stage 2, 3, and 4, and what we can be doing and how we work together through that process. And anyhow, I think that would be a really fun conversation, maybe even get some investment banking heads in here that I know that we can kind of just have a really cool combo about it.
Love it.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for part 2.
Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
You've watched another episode of Civility Wins, the Family Law Edition. I am your host, Kristen Goss, founder and owner of KWG Family Legal and Mediation Services. We are your knowledgeable, warm, and gracious attorneys. Until next time, stay tuned. Don't forget out there to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care.